up, guys? Welcome back to the garden. I'm your host, Taryn Colvin. Not to be confused with the fact that all my podcast stuff still says Taryn Balzana. That is going to get changed eventually. That whole name change thing has really taken longer than anticipated and is a little complicated when you live in a different state. And you're not really near anything like a social security office or a DMV, all these tiny little things, or your banks aren't even in your town. So it just, yeah. I have heard about the newly named thing. It's this box that you can buy, and it sends you all the forms, or in the box are all the forms to change your name, and supposedly it makes everything a lot easier. So if you are about to get married, or you just recently got married and you are scratching your brain for how to get everything done, check that out, because I think maybe it's something I should have done. Anyway, I don't know if y'all remember me talking about how much I love overalls, but I got this cute pair in South Carolina, and they're shorts, which is great because I love wearing them, and I didn't have any shorts. That my overalls were all pants. So these are shorts, and they're like this linen material. Like a thicker linen. They remind me of linen, but they're like a thicker linen. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, I love them. Today, as I am recording, is my birthday. And with that, I wanted to share some things with you guys. Just some fun facts. Now, I don't know if you were aware of all the birthday freebies out there from fast food restaurants and stores and stuff like that. But if you are not, I am going to help you out. And I have made a list of some of my favorites, or ones that I want to try one day, or that I've gotten over the years. And I'm going to share those with you because it's one of my favorite things to do on my birthday, and there has been a couple times, like today, because Trent is at work and I don't live near my family, that I've just kind of been hanging out by myself. And so I went into town and got some of my birthday freebies, and that made things a little more fun and entertaining. Anyway, so some of the birthday freebies. You might want a pen and paper, pull up your notes app, or just save this episode because you're gonna want to save these for later. Mind you, disclaimer, all of these birthday freebies are if you were signed up with rewards through that establishment. So you're not going to get these unless you sign up for the rewards and your birthday is in their system. It's a lot of things to sign up for, but if you go to these places regularly, then it's definitely worth it, because then you get points and then you get free stuff, not just on your birthday. Anyway, starting off with Starbucks. You get a free drink of any size, even with any of your customizations. I have been having such a hard time with that word today, and I don't know why. Customizations? Yep. Anyway, you get it. Any of your little spices, if you will, that you add to your drink, included. Any drink, any size, free from Starbucks. From McDonald's, you get a free item, and they have quite the variety. They also change from what time of day you're ordering. So if like you're ordering at breakfast, then they're going to give you options of like a breakfast burrito, coffee, hash browns, sausage biscuit, stuff like that. If you're ordering at lunch, it's going to give you options of like a large fry, a McChicken, some chicken nuggets, I think a quarter pounder. You have so many options. So that's at McDonald's. 7 Brew. You get a free drink. Dunkin'. Free drink. IHOP. I don't go to IHOP very often. Actually, I like never go to IHOP, but this intrigued me. You get a free stack of pancakes. Also, if you sign up, you get like 10 pan coins or whatever. And that's the equivalent of like 2 stacks of pancakes. So you get like 3 stacks of pancakes. Anyway. So IHOP might be worth checking out. Panda Express. Me and Trent are big Panda Express fans. So this one is also intriguing to me. With the purchase of one of the following, you can also pick another one of the following and get it free. So if you pick a small entree, a small app, or a medium side, you can get another one of those free. You could get a medium side of fried rice and a small order of orange chicken and only have to pay $4. Or you could get 2 small entrees, like fried chicken and beef and broccoli. And then you could bring it home, steam up some of your own rice, and there's dinner. However you want to do it. Texas Roadhouse. You get a free appetizer with your meal. And then if you're eating there, with the purchase of your meal. And then if you're eating there, you usually get a free dessert too. HTO. Which is primarily a Texas thing, but there's also some in Oklahoma. On your birthday, you get a free gallon of tea. And not just like sweet tea, unsweet tea. Any of their flavor options that they have, you get a free gallon of tea. Buffalo Wild Wings. A free 6-piece of boneless wings. One day, whenever I was in college, I literally got all my meals throughout the day for free. It was one of those birthdays that I was by myself, and I got a whole day's worth of meals for free. Anyway, it's worth it. And it's so much fun to just like go around and get your stuff. Whataburger, you get a free item. Qdoba, you get free chips and queso. And their queso is the bomb. So that's like the best birthday gift that they could give you. Tropical Smoothie, you get a free 24-ounce smoothie. Sonic, you get a free shake with a purchase. But there's no like required purchase amount. Like it doesn't have to be a minimum of $5 purchase. It could be a 30-cent water and you get a free shake. Dutch Bros, you get a free drink any size. Jersey Mike's. I thought this was really cool and it really made me wish that we had a Jersey Mike's around here. You get a free 72 points, which is the equivalent of a regular sub, and you can use the points that day or save them and like stack them up if you want. But if you don't want, you could just take your 72 points, immediately redeem them, and get a free sub. Sounds like a great deal to me. And then, not food establishments, but Ulta, you get a free gift, and you get twice the amount of points on any purchases you make on your birthday. And then at Sephora, you get a free gift. And then those 2 things at Ulta and Sephora usually last like all month. So, I know I went kind of fast. Feel free to rewind, save this episode for your birthday, or go to the like transcript and then just like copy and paste this into your notes. It's so much fun. It's even more fun when you get to do it with somebody and like share all the things with that person. I've never done that before, But I imagine that it would be so much more fun because you can't eat all that or drink all that. And it would be so much fun to just like share your birthday freebies with somebody. Maybe next year Trent won't have to work and we can do it together. Anyway, another thing that's been on my mind today as I've been thinking about birthday freebies and stuff like that, I would like to put out a petition to any banks that on your birthday, they give you free money. Why is this not a thing? If there is a bank out there that does that, please let me know. But I think that it should like start at $10 for the first year you're with them and then adding $5 every year that you're a customer. Does that not sound like a brilliant idea? Why have banks not done this? If any of y'all have any connections, feel free to use my idea. I won't be mad. Share it with your boss. Share it with anybody that you have a connection to in the banking world, because I think that's brilliant. Last but not least, my final suggestion of the day. Start a blessing jar for your household, or even just you if you live alone. Me and my family did this last year, and I don't remember if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but me and my family did this last year. And we all added to the jar every time God did something in our lives or even became more aware of a daily blessing. And then on New Year's Day, we read them all, and we just like took turns passing the jar around, took one out, read them all together, and just basked in all that God had done throughout the year. And it was such a cool moment as a family. Me and Trent just started one for ourselves, and it's just such a good way to be mindful of all that God's doing in your life, of all the things that he already has done in your life, big and small. We went without water for a couple days in our camper, and so one of the blessings I put in there the other day was water, because we weren't able to wash dishes or take a shower, and we just had to get creative. And so I was just really thankful for water. And then I had to go without my car for 2 months, and I was really thankful when I got it back. And I just had my own means of transportation. I didn't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to take Trent to work if I wanted the vehicle. And so it's just those little things. Sometimes when you go without them, you realize how thankful you are for them. And I just encourage you to, even if you're not going without something right now, I just encourage you to reflect on your life and your day and the things that you're just really thankful for. And just all the ways that God's blessed your life, big and small. And I'm not talking about some like ginormous blessing, but the fact that you have air conditioning, the fact that you have a roof over your head, a bed to sleep in, your spouse, whatever it is, just to remember all that God's done in your life and is doing in your life. Anyway, that's my little pieces of advice for the day. Now, let's get into today's episode. Crazy that we are almost at 20 minutes already, and I feel like I've been talking really fast. This is just a short little piece, but I just wanted to share it. Last week, I was talking with a friend about means of grace. And means of grace are the components through which God acts to convey his free grace, strengthening faith and conveying the benefits of redemption, such as salvation and sanctification to believers. The primary means are the Word, reading and studying Scripture, the sacraments, baptism and the Lord's Supper / communion, and prayer, communing with God. These practices are not designed to earn salvation, because we cannot earn salvation, but to facilitate necessary means of nourishment for the believer. Not about performing, but about positioning yourself where grace flows and staying connected. Well, as we were discussing this, and we're both big on analogies, I thought of one. When you spray perfume or cologne, the scent fades, right? It's there for a moment, but it doesn't last. But when you wash something in the washing machine and it soaks in the detergent, the scent lingers. Everything smells like it. Your entire home adopts the smell. And I started thinking, that's the difference. A quick moment with God can be like a spray of perfume, having you smell good, feel good for a moment. But when you sit with Him, when you soak in His word, when you remain in prayer, it gets into you, into your soul, into the depths. And it changes what you carry and how you carry it. Your time with the Lord becomes evident. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you've been permeated by His presence. People will either notice it or they won't. They'll know they've been with Jesus, or they'll know they haven't. When you look at Scripture and you look at the disciples, miracles weren't random. They flowed through people who had been with Him, walked with Him, stayed near to Him. Here's the tension, though. You already have all of Him. You have full access to the Lord. What He desires, what He needs, is more of you. Not a quick spray of attention, but a life willing to be immersed. A life willing to soak it all in. This kind of goes along with episode I did a couple weeks ago about picking up your cross and following Him. And how I mentioned last week about how His proximity to us doesn't change. Our proximity to Him is what changes. When we feel like He's not near, when we feel like our relationship with Him is lacking, when we feel like we can't hear Him, it's not because He went anywhere. But what have you been doing to build relationship with Him? 2 Corinthians 2:15 says, "For we are the aroma of Christ to God among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing." Sometimes we are the only Bible that people are going to read. Are they going to be able to look at you and your life and know that you've been with Jesus? Or are they not going to know at all? Acts 4:13 says, "Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were uneducated, common men, they were astonished, and they recognized that they had been with Jesus." It is not by our doing. It is not because of who we are, but of who Christ is in us. And you only know that. You only know who He is in you if you are in relationship with Him. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.